Have you ever noticed that there are a few out there who act on their dreams and inspiration? Who truly live lives of greatness. They maximize their time and actualize as much of their potential as they can. These rare individuals, they shine a light into this world. They then serve as an inspiration for all those who are lucky enough to know them. Their existence alone inspires those around them to become more, to want more, to demand more for themselves, to raise their standards. And fascinatingly, so many of these great people among us, they've undergone traumatic and unspeakable challenges. They've been pushed down, torn apart, pushed to the brink of destruction. And this begs the obvious question, did these people become great despite their challenges? Or because of them? Yaakov Avinu's journey through life was trouble-ridden from his very birth. He seems to be plagued with challenge after challenge. His battles with Esav over the Bechor ended with him running for his life. He then had to deal with the trickery of Lavan, and this was followed by the unfortunate events with Dinah and Shem. And if that wasn't bad enough, his favorite son Yosef is now torn away from him in this week's Parsha. Yaakov's entire life seems to be painted with hardship, yet despite all these challenges, Yaakov Avinu still became great. So the question is, do great people accomplish the impossible despite their challenges or because of them? Do the most amazing among us make their challenges disappear, or do their challenges make them truly appear? The Ramban explains that the entire purpose of a challenge is to push you, to force you to realize your latent potential. Hashem already knows what you can become. The ordeal enables you to realize what you can become. Sometimes you just need a push in order to realize just how much you can accomplish. Every challenge Yaakov underwent was another part of his journey towards his own perfection. To understand this better, just imagine the following story. There was a man who wanted to join the Olympics and compete in the high jump. So he practiced every day, always trying to improve. The first week, he managed to make it over the 3-foot fence. The next week, he made it over the 4-foot fence. After 2 more weeks, he was able to jump over the 5-foot fence, but no matter how hard he trained, he couldn't manage to jump over the 6-foot fence. Finally, after 5 more weeks of failing, he was starting to lose hope. One day, as he was about to head home, he saw a bull stampeding full speed right at him. Before thinking twice, the adrenaline rush seized him, and he flew right over the 6-foot fence. The same fence he had convinced himself he couldn't jump over. So here's the question. Was he able to jump over the fence until now? What changed? But the answer is so obvious. Of course he was. But sometimes we need some external pressure to allow us to fully harness our own potential. We've all heard the stories where a mother lifted an unthinkably heavy car to save her child, yet that same mother wouldn't even be able to make that car budge in any other circumstance. Our challenges bring out something deep from within us. They allow us to surface our dormant potential, which would otherwise remain hidden. The same principle applies to building muscle in a gym. The only way a muscle grows is if you first rip it apart, which is why it's called being ripped. Imagine an alien comes from outer space, and this being, it's his first time experiencing human civilization. And he peeks through the window of the gym. He sees a man lifting these heavy metal objects, veins popping, face beat-ridden, looks absolutely pain-ridden. He'd probably think this man is being tortured. There must be an evil man holding a gun to his head somewhere beyond the alien's point of view. But on the contrary, not only is this man here by choice, but he's probably paying for this experience. Why? Because he understands that the only way to grow and improve his health is to push himself past his comfort zone. Growing requires a breakdown. so too every challenge Yaakov faced was bringing him one step closer to actualizing his potential and fulfilling his unique purpose in this world. Of course, the ideal is not to wait for Hashem to challenge you, but rather to push yourself. This is why Avraham overcame after Avraham overcame all of his 10 challenges from Hashem, he refers to himself as Anochi Afar Ve'efer, which means I am but dirt and ashes. Most people understand this to mean that Avraham was a humble man. However, there's a deeper explanation as well. Ashes represent an elemental breakdown of something. Dirt represents the starting point of growth, the place where seeds are planted. Avram was saying that every day he would ash himself, breaking himself down into his elemental and root form, and he would then plant himself anew in a field of dirt, meaning Avram would recreate himself every single day. He would never continue living on the way he had been living until now. Each and every day, he would look within, break himself down, and recreate himself anew. In other words, Avram would challenge himself, break himself down, and constantly push himself to become the very best he could be. This leads us to deal with a very, very important issue. When we are in pain, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, we beg Hashem every day, with all of our heart, to make the pain go away. We create this image of how amazing life will be when the challenge passes. And each day, we hold on to that image. We cherish it. We hope for Hashem to make that day come. We cry, we suffer, we push. And just when we think we simply can't take it anymore, just when we think we actually might not make it another day, when every last piece of strength and hope has been demolished, Hashem begins to make it fade away. Yet, when all is said and done, what are we doing during our challenges? Most people want to simply get through it as quickly as possible. Perhaps we'll go to sleep early, hoping tomorrow we won't have to face it again. Every day, we hope for a better tomorrow. In other words, we throw away our present lives during these challenges, waiting for them to pass. Instead of riding it like the wave it was meant to be, we try to hide until it's gone. We say, I'll start to do things once the challenge goes away. But perhaps the whole reason this challenge was given to us in the first place was to make us push and grow. This is so much easier said than done, and I would never want to diminish the genuine pain and anguish of certain challenges, but just think of it like this. You're already in pain, so use it. You're already in pain, so use it. Don't be used by the pain. Use the pain. Push yourself to the max. See what you're capable of becoming. Growth can only occur when there's resistance and pressure being applied. There is no growth in the comfort zone. You can only grow muscle when you rip your muscle fibers. You can only grow existentially when you rip yourself out of your comfort zone. Growth in life, learning, midos, your job, your relationships, growth in all of these can only happen when you're pushing yourself to the max. While the ideal is for us to push ourselves like Avraham, exemplified through Afar Ve'efer, most of the time this doesn't happen. In such cases, Hashem will try to help and therefore challenge us to grow. If we try to sit out the challenge, we're missing the point. We need to ride the challenge, to ask ourselves, how can I use this challenge to help me grow? This will completely change the way we experience hardship. As a mother once told me, right after she had her first child, she looked at me in the eye and she said, "Don't feel sorry for me." This wasn't suffering. It was pain. Suffering is meaningless. This was the most meaningful pain I ever experienced in my entire life. In other words, when you can give meaning to your pain, it becomes something you can proudly bear. Just Just imagine a person who needs to go through thousands and thousands of miles through a jungle, full of ordeals, danger, and pain, in order to find his wife and be reunited with her. He knows she's in a certain location, and he has to fight with all of his might to reach her. Wouldn't he gladly accept every challenge that comes his way? And each time he overcomes a challenge, he would feel amazing, because he knows that he's getting one step closer to his ultimate goal. But let's say he has no idea what he's doing in this jungle. He has no idea where he's going. He just woke up there, and he's simply lost. He will probably feel much more depressed with every single challenge he faces. Eventually, he'd rather just sit down and die than keep on fighting. But the same exact idea is true for every challenge we face. If you know where you're going in life, then the challenges that you face make the journey more meaningful and push you to get there. But if you have no idea why you're here, then challenges just break you down and make you want to give up. So the choice is up to you. I mean, right now, at this moment, you are who you are because of all of the challenges you faced. In essence, every decision and experience you've ever had in your entire life has led you to this very moment. Some turns were bigger than others, some decisions bigger than others, but you have created your unique path in life. And one day, you'll realize that the challenges you face were in fact the best things that ever happened to you. You'll realize that everything you've become is not despite your challenges, but because of them. Great people are great because of their challenges, not despite them. This is why the Bali Machshava suggests writing your own personal Megillah. In Megillah Esther, there is no open miracle. Only by putting all the pieces together do we see the Yad Hashem and how everything fits together so perfectly. The same is true with your own personal story. Every individual piece seems insignificant, happenstance. But if we put all the pieces together, connecting all the dots, we begin to see the magic manifest in our own personal Megillah. We begin to see the turning points in our lives. We retroactively see the life-changing decisions and events. Whether it was choosing your school, your friends, your spouse, to go to a certain place at a certain time, your past becomes a masterpiece, ready to be read by you. So never stop dreaming. Never stop pushing past your boundaries and limitations. Remember that growth is the spice of life. So never be satisfied with where you are. Be happy with what you've become, but always remain hungry for more. Like Yaakov, you will constantly be challenged, but remember, challenges are opportunities in disguise. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your life. But most importantly, don't die wishing you had tried. Because you can try and fail, but never fail to try.